G'day scrappers. Well, I'm finally onto my gold recovery plugs, and yeah, there's a lot more than I expected, or certainly a lot more work. This barrel here I'm refilling now, but had 3 of these barrels, actually 4 of these barrels, and a couple of small buckets, and so I'm over halfway through, I think. Unless I find some more pins, but yeah, I've just got to reduce the volumes that I've got in the yard. So, you know, just having 4 of these barrels sitting around, just holding plugs, had to go. And so, yeah, there's a lot of plugs here that I no longer even keep, so I've got to obviously cut them off the wire, but things like USB plugs I no longer keep, or you know, put aside for gold recovery, simply because I've just got so many of them, and I don't think I'm going to attempt to recover the gold from most of these plugs, because you know they're reasonably low volume and they just take up a lot of time. You know, so I can imagine, like with the USB plugs, to get those 4 little pins out there, you know, that's a lot of work and a lot of time, and I just don't want to spend too much time on this lower gold recovery. Sure, there's still gold, same as these VGA plugs. I don't get many anymore, but I certainly, when I cut them off the wire, I certainly don't put them aside anymore. And yeah, it goes with a lot. The only real thing I'm kind of interested here are a couple of things, like anything from really vintage electronics, so the gold pins on really vintage stuff like that, you can see the real orangeness of it. They're the things that I'm kind of putting aside, and then just regular pins like this would have been off like a floppy drive or something like that. Some of them are really good, the really old vintage ones, but I'm not going to attempt to recover the gold myself. So I don't know what to do with all these plugs. I'm sorting it, and it's a nightmare. I should have just you know, said, oh, anyone wants it, but I really wanted to get down and get the really good quality stuff out of here. And then, you know, everything always needed sorting out anyway. So yeah, so I thought maybe we can work out which ones are actually worth recovering gold from, and which ones are worth, you know, just throwing as scrap metal or something. Maybe people have got stats on certain things, so I'll just go through every one anyway, every different type. So here, mostly, this is a bit of a rubbish tub, and it's mostly these that we get off from the cable inside the PCs. And so, you know, just got these little, now sure, they're you know, gold plated little pins, but these would have to go through some kind of shredder or a ball mill or something like that to grind away this plastic, and it's really hard, solid plastic. I don't think I'm even going to bother keeping these. I don't think anyone would really want these, so I'll probably just end up throwing these into scrap metal. Obviously the plugs from, say, Cat5 cables, network cable, these plugs I've never really kept much. I think the ones that I do have are from very early in the piece, when I was trying to keep everything that looked like it had a little bit of gold in there. So these are already established a long time ago that it's almost impossible to get out the little gold pins. This plastic is really hard, and I don't want to use some kind of acid to melt down the plastic to try and get the little pins, because what you're going to end up with a big gloopy mess. Not going to bother with these. Same as these little telephone jacks. Okay, so you got 4 tiny little pins in there, but yeah, I've already tried to smash them up, break my way into them. They're almost impossible. So this is the first batch, and I haven't been keeping these from PCs for quite a long time, at least 2 years. So I just so happened to, you know, I must have, when I first started, say 10 years ago, and I thought, oh yeah, there's a little bit of gold in each one day. So I just did it in case one day, you know, I was going to get so heavily into gold recovery that I was going to try go for everything, and but yeah, I think these are going to be too difficult, and I'm just going to get rid of them once I get them all out of this mix. Okay, so the ones that I'm putting aside for now anyway are obviously these plugs here off your PC ribbon cable, IDE plugs. So there's stacks of these, and there's stacks more to come out of what I've got left, but and you might notice that these ones are all being cleaned, so they've had the backs taken off, and so there's no ribbon wire left on them, there's no back plastic. These are super clean, so there are you know, a lot further ahead. I see a lot of people cutting these off ribbon wire and just leaving the back plastic on and that bit of ribbon. Well, that's an extra work, so I find it a lot easier as I was doing it to just remove everything and just have them clean like that. But again, these majority of these are very, very low gold recovery. The tiny little tip of the pins have a little bit of gold plating. I'm not sure, but maybe someone can let us know what the yield is per pound for these type of pins. And yeah, that's definitely one that I'm going to try and pass on, do something with. You know, hopefully I can find someone local that wants to recover the gold and might see some value and maybe buy them, but we can work things out. This tub here is just for the old school plugs with the pins. So these aren't too bad, because some of the pins are really awesome, some are just average, but some are really great. And yeah, so you know, from all the vintage type of PCs that I've scrapped out over time, this is it. So I thought I'd separate these at least into their own barrel, because they probably will take up a lot of space, but I might end up consolidating other things like these VGA plugs. Yeah, so like I said, I stopped cutting these off a long time ago. I either throw the whole cable into low grade wire or cut the plugs off and throw these into scrap metal. So these, it's probably been 4 years since I was been cutting these off or keeping them. So these are obviously the early stage of me going for gold recovery. I really can't see myself, and it's really hard. Like, how do you value them? And even these, they're a lot cleaner than most would have them. Here's one with one of the pins still in there, but normally I would take out both pins, the metal, and at least get rid of that as scrap metal, reduce the load, and so per pound, whatever someone says, you know, they might be worth per pound, which I doubt would be much. You've got to take into account that none of them really have the pins anymore. They're all being removed, and so obviously mostly blue, but we've got the black ones as well. So that's another one that's going to have to go. I don't think anyone would be interested in there. These, you know, you've got to remove this metal cap and then cut off these pins. I once tried with a little Dremel, the little saw. Took ages, and I was just going through Dremel wheels, and it was just, you know, it wasn't going to work out, because the wheels cost more than any kind of gold recovery that I'd get, and still got to take into account solutions. And obviously the new style monitor cable plugs, and once again I've taken off the plugs and everything, they're clean, but I've stopped these as well, the black version. Yeah, I mean, I can see the gold plated. They've probably got more surface area gold plating than the blue ones, than the old VGA ones, but I just can't see them being worthwhile. And yeah, I'm just trying to reduce volumes down here, and I've got to make a decision on what I get rid of and what I keep. So these are another thing that are gone once I sort all the rest. This barrel here, I'm halfway through this barrel, and this barrel I've just made a start. So these two are the only ones that I know of so far, but I might have another barrel or two smaller ones somewhere else. This one's a good one. This category is just things with pins, and it's mostly from like DVD players broken off, those little pins, or floppy disks, the old school floppies with the pins. So some of the pins are really good in this, and just pretty much like they're good quality pins, but it's only the one side, half of that's not plated. So I kept a separate one for this, and this I can see a lot more potential in gold recovery. So even these, the pins sort of go all the way through, and they're pretty reasonably plated. Also got brand new stuff with pins, so I just kept. And yeah, so I think these ones aren't too bad. They got potential for pretty good gold recovery, and a lot easier to get to. It's only mostly plastic you got to break away, and you can start cutting off the pins or whatever, you know, or pulling them, however you want to do that. But so I'm not sure how to grade these and roughly what kind of recovery rate we can get from, you know, a mixture, because it's so mixed. It's just anything that contains some pins. You know, it could really vary. So, you know, I don't think there's anyone can really give an accurate value. But don't get me wrong here. I'm not. This isn't a sales marketing video. I'm not trying to sell this. But you know, if someone wanted to buy some of the stuff that I'm trying to get rid of, great. If not, I might even end up giving half of it away. But this is the only one that I'm truly keeping, and it's just for the real high-end gold pins that are reasonably easy to get to. So, you know, these, you know, pin boards are great, very high quality gold pins. So if I ever do process plugs for the gold pins, it will be this kind of stuff, high-end stuff. Like, you can see that, you can just see the difference in color than from what else I've probably shown you, but it's a very orange pins. So these are not off old, these are more off very vintage stuff in the 70s and stuff, but could also be more modern. So these, like these pins here, they're not that spectacular, as good as the last ones I showed you, but they're all pretty good, and they're fully plated all the way. So yeah, so this is the sort of stuff that I'm kind of keeping. So I don't really need to know the value out of this, because I'll probably end up, yeah, playing around one day and trying to recover it all myself. So they're fine. So that's basically the main reason why I'm sorting through. Otherwise I probably would have just tried to offload barrels at a time, but I do want to pick out my really good stuff that maybe I'll play with one day. Obviously we've got the USB plugs. Oh god, you know, to get those 4 little pins out of there, like I said, it's probably going to be too much work. I'm not sure what the recovery rate per pound of USB pins is. There probably wouldn't even be a rate per pound. You'd have to sort of like do 10 pounds of them or 50 pounds of them to get a bit good average. But these are 20-litre buckets. So what do we got? About 30 pound or so in here. the amount of work it would take, the hours to get those little pins out, I just don't have the patience. And yeah, like I said, you know, when I first started, I didn't know how full on into gold recovery I was going to be in. I thought by now I would already be into the gold recovery, but I'm still doing the business and still processing. So, you know, I don't want to think about gold recovery until I stop actually recycling and just go right back down to hobby style. So we've got the SATA, and they come off out of all the PCs again, mainly off the power supply. Well, I've got stacks of these, and yeah, another 30 odd pound here, but there's still a lot to come. I don't know, again, the recovery rate on these, but I reckon they're better than a lot of the other things, simply because they're a lot lighter and they have about a dozen pins in there. So a lot more pins, although they're only smaller pins, so less surface area. But compared to, say, the USBs, they're all mostly dead weight. The pins are only a few little pins in the front here. All the rest is just dead weight, whereas this is less dead weight because it's only just light plastic. Interested to know what the value out of these are, in case someone does want to buy them. I don't know what to get rid of them for, and you know. But like I said, in the end, I might end up just giving away a lot of this stuff. Another similar to the SATA are these little plugs here, and these come from servers mostly. And if I can just get in here, so these are a little bit different because they don't have pins. They actually have a little board, little gold fingers on the end. So these are kind of you know, obviously I keep my gold fingers, so you know, this is more of the thing that I wouldn't mind spending time on, is, you know, processing these and cutting out the little gold fingers and putting it with the rest. They might not be super high grade, you know. This one's very shiny, so it's not going to be a huge amount of gold recovery, but yeah, they're pretty, I think they're pretty good, and I've been sort of persisting with these, and as I'm continuing to process servers, I'll continue to keep these ones, but I'm going to pretty much stop keeping anything else aside from them and the really high grade stuff. And these ones I don't mind either. They're similar to the IDE. They usually come from again from servers, but you can see the pins are actually, they're quite good, and you know, they're just pins like that. So if I was going to pull pins out of these IDE things, it would be these types, because it just seems, because they are actually gold plated both sides fully, whereas the regular IDE pins are it's only just the tips, and I'll show you what they kind of look like when you do take them out, but it's only like usually even one-sided tips, whereas these are a lot better. So I like these, and also these kind of things, they got the same kind of thing in there. Might be a little bit different to get the pins out of these, but yeah, because they're the same kind of thing, I kept them all together. And the other thing I didn't show, it's obviously these pads from motherboards, where you got the gold pins in there. I don't have a lot. I don't normally, because I don't process motherboards like that, completely depopulate. So these are mostly ones that people are just thrown in. Not a problem. And at the end, so this is my working tub at the moment that I'm trying to sort everything out, etc. And at the end, what I do is, I give the bucket a bit of a shake to any loose pins. They drop down to the bottom, and so once I get down to the bottom of this, I scoop out the pins and jacks and God knows what. So yeah, I mentioned showing you the IDE plug type pins, and this is you know, it's got all kinds of little bits in there and contamination, so you know, most of my jacks and pins are all in, you know, all separate, but you can see this kind of stuff here, and apart from the fully plated ones, most of it you can barely see any gold. They just look silver, and they've just got a tiny little tip with gold plating. So some a little bit more and some a lot less, and some virtually you can't even notice it. So that's kind of the types of pins that come out of these IDE plugs. So very time consuming for very little, but you know, for those that are into gold recovery, you know, and want to process anything they can get, well, I suppose if you've got the time, I just don't want to spend a year of my life trying to remove these pins. You know, this, you know, suits someone that's right into gold recovery and someone that got a lot of time on their hands. So I don't know what to do. I'll probably just separate all the jacks out of this and put these into like a mixed category. I do have a low grade category of pins from IDE plugs, a mid grade, higher grade, and then very high vintage kind of gold plating and mil spec, you know, military type pins and all that, which are usually something like that, and really good. But yeah, that's just crumble that I'll just bag up and probably yeah, give it to someone with as a challenge and say, see what you can get out of that. Yeah, there you go. So it's just so time consuming to process all this. Yeah, like I said, I wish I didn't start it sorting it, but I really do want to get my good quality stuff out. And I don't even know what's in there really, in a lot of it, so just got to reorganize. So this bucket will definitely be full in the next hour or so. So like I said, in my opinion, aside from the real high end stuff, I think these ones with just pins, all kinds of pins and stuff, DVD kind of things, these are about the highest yield. And then second would probably be these SATA plugs, and then probably these, and then the rest. Yeah, apart from obviously the these old school plugs, some are just very okay, like this one wouldn't barely worth it because it's so pale yellow. These ones are a bit better, and some are like really super. So I think these would be a good yield. Like these ones are really good, but the only thing is it's very hard to value something like that, even though they've been cleaned and had the pins removed or the screws removed. This one doesn't weigh much, but you know, these ones are quite heavy, and it's just all rubber and, you know, dead weight. So this is the hardest thing, and I've never bought plugs from anyone. People have brought me bags of plugs. So look, sorry, I don't buy plugs because you can't price them, because they all vary in weights, and yeah, I'm just not 100% convinced there's a very good gold recovery in most of the stuff. So there you go. And so these ones would have taken me ages, and yeah, I might just put them aside, just bag. Doesn't look like there's going to be a great deal more than what's already here, maybe a few more pounds. I might just bag them up and give them to someone that wants to take something else, or maybe the whole lot. Yeah, it'd be interesting. yeah, I'm just going to continue on here sorting these pins, and thought I'd put this up. I did mention I was going to do something about plugs, and maybe yeah, if anyone's got a bit of experience in gold recovery with these kind of things, you know, let me know what you think. And yeah, the only thing is, obviously, if you're not here in Melbourne, there's no point in asking me to send you a bag of plugs overseas, because obviously the shipping would kill any value, kill all the value. But yeah, normally what I do is I just put them in my hand and start, you know, sorting out, get the USB plugs out. Oh my gosh, you know, anything with pins in there, SATA in SATA, and these again in the bin, and just keep going like that. I've been at it for about, off and on, for over 3 days now, and goodness, it's never ending. But now I'm getting to the point where some of the buckets are going to start to fill, so I'm going to have to yeah, do something and work it out. These are just rubbish, either very, very low gold plating or just oddball plugs that that's not bad, that I thought, well, I'm not even going to bother keeping, you know, storing some of them till I get rid of. But you know, I might even end up just having to fill up PCs with these kind of VGA plugs and just selling them as scrap metal, you know. Or maybe give them to my buyer and say, just, you know, shred these up with his plastic, and good luck to them, and just get rid of them. But yeah, can't believe how many USB plugs I've kept, and I wish I slowed that down, because I've spent a lot of time sorting, you know, like, not sorting, but preparing them and packaging them and dealing with you know, all the volumes of stuff that, yeah, I just can't see myself ever getting to this point. You've got to remember, I've been doing this for 10 years, processing e-waste, and so therefore you know, I've got all the other gold recovery stuff that, you know, that we really want, you know, the gold fingers and ceramic CPUs and all kinds of different gold recovery things, all the chips and stuff, so BGAs and you name it. So I've already got enough for me to you know, process, you know, gold recovery for a long time. It's going to take me a while to just learn how to do this, but you know, what would be good about these pins is, for someone that's interested in gold recovery, is to learn off this kind of stuff. So before you get your really high-end gold recovery bits, say you get gold fingers, you know, we know we can get pretty easy gold out of that, but once you get to the chips and all that, this kind of stuff would be a really good thing to practice on. You know, start off with these jacks, work out a way to process to get this, you know, gold off these fully plated pins and jacks and stuff. Yeah, good luck in trying to get the gold out, and but you know, I haven't, you know, I've spent the last 10 years just accumulating it and processing e-waste. I haven't spent any time trying to teach myself about gold recovery, because I always thought, well, hey, you know, when I'm ready to do that, and when I've stopped collecting e-waste and processing e-waste, sure, I'll learn about gold recovery and stuff. But yeah, at this point, I just don't want to yeah, spend so much time on all this little junk. So at least I'm sorting it out, just in case someone does want to play around with plugs. But obviously, you know, it's still like these IDE plugs. I can't see much value in there, but I still put a lot of work into them. There's countless hours of time put into them just by removing that back plastic, the peeling off the ribbon wire and having them all clean like that. So I think they're probably got to be worth 25% more than ones with all that rubber. Probably even more, because to process the pins, to get the pins out, you've still got to remove that back cap and still got to peel off the thing. So a lot of work has already been saved in them. The old school plugs, they might be a bit of fun, get some good stuff. These are definitely going to be the best, just simply because they've got good accessible pins. This one, probably the pins are just a little bit too good. This is what I put more towards my vintage stuff, but yeah, they're still pretty good, pretty darn good, these ones. But yeah, it's just hard to value because most of the weight is all dead weight. You know, it's a lot easier to sell clean pins, at least, you know, even if you say, okay, this is a mixture of mostly low to high, you can at least put a value on it, because we can, you know, people can kind of work out roughly what they're going to, you know, get out of it. But jacks I don't like, because it's all dead weight. Really hard, really complicated thing, and I just want to focus on my ceramic CPUs and all the good easy stuff, all the IC chips that I got, BGA chips and stuff, and let someone that, you know, that wants to do this more as a hobby play around with it. So anyway, that's all I thought I'd do for now. I might give an update after some people have watched the video, maybe give me some a breakdown on what's good for gold recovery, you know, whether it's the SATA plugs or, you know, these ones, or whether it's the VGA type plugs or the pins or IDEs. Give me an idea if you've got any experience in recovering gold from these plugs, and yeah, hopefully someone local is interested. Or like I said, I'll probably just they're really nice pins. Still a bit of work to get them off, but that's the kind of things that I like. I will play around with one day. But anyway, let me know what you think, and if you do have experience, and yeah, just give me your opinions. That's all I want. I'm not particularly fussed. I'm not going to get upset if you tell me these are worth absolutely nothing. You wasted your time and space keeping all these, but you know, they still got a little bit of gold in them, so someone's got to be keen on them, I think. And it's just going to relieve 4 barrels, and I can use the barrels for something else. I might even give away a couple of the barrels. No, I'll probably keep the barrels, because I've got the lids and they come in handy for other things. But yeah, at least yeah, I can. The barrels, I had 3 barrels here, and so now I needed a place to put scrap laptops before my buyer comes and picks them up. So they're just scrap laptops. They're not resellable, but they're kind of undercover under the eaves. So I found that's more important to put these there than have 3 barrels sitting there with full of plugs doing absolutely nothing, and just stuff that I need to scrap. But yeah, so well, there we go, guys. So not too much to go, 1.5 barrels left, and as you can see, my garage is getting there. You saw from the last video, still looks a little bit untidy. It's just that things haven't been put in their place, but I've gotten a lot of the work, the scrap out, and yeah, this whole space is going to be great for PCs and laptops that I resell, good ones. But you know, here's just a few loose CPUs, you know, and so this is what I'm more interested in. you know, is recovering the gold and from, you know, ceramic CPUs and all the CPUs that I got, all this kind of thing. These are just ones that came in and just been sitting at the bottom of a box. That's an unusual one, WeTech. It's nice. 1987. So some of these I'll put aside because I do like to collect and, you know, just keep a nice interesting collection of different types of ceramic CPUs. You know, the bolt ones. This is just came on a board like that. Gosh, interesting. But this one's obviously not going to be collectible because it's all been cracked and shattered. So you can see the ceramic is cracked, but we can still process it. What's this one? Intel Pentiums are good ones, good for gold recovery. These ones obviously less, they don't have as much gold on them. Cyrix 686, that's a nice CPU actually. So even black fibers are really good for gold recovery. The best in as far as the fibers are concerned. You know, interesting little things. So that's what I'm keen on. And apart from good pins, all these plugs, yeah, I've just got to bite the bullet and you know, make the decision and say, okay, I've got a lot more to focus on than this stuff, so let's just get rid of it. Give me space to you know, I've got it everywhere and I've got to organize myself, but you know, jacks and pins and stuff that people have brought me over the years, just don't know where to start with them. So there you go, that's IDE pins, etc. It's just what I consider low grade. Bags and bags of it, you know, everywhere. So yeah, wow. More the white ceramic types, all kinds. Yeah, so this is very messy, so people have brought me batches like that. I haven't even worked out what I've got. As people bring them, I say, oh yeah, you know, and sometimes, you know, I pay for them, you know, and then I just put it aside and I forget all about them. Like pins like that, you know. Now that's, you know, when they're nice and clean like that, sure, that's what I'm going to actually be processing for gold recovery, to have a bit of fun with. Anyway, guys, enough of the video. Anyone has got some information for me just to refresh my memory on what is worth recovering the gold from, let me know. And as quick as possible, because it might save me another day's worth of sorting this stuff if nothing's worth keeping. So yeah, you know, that's the kind of pins I like. Alright guys, keep scrapping, have fun, and I'll catch you real soon.